You're watching the USA Network. The USA Network and Diamond P Sports present from the National Hot Rod Association Championship Drag Racing. The 1986 Summer Nationals from Englishtown, New Jersey. Speeds in excess of 270 miles an hour. Covering the quarter-mile distance in less than 6 seconds. Drag racing from the NHRA. It was from this point on Christmas night, 1776, that George Washington and his men crossed the Delaware River into New Jersey, surprising an unsuspecting British garrison. 30 years earlier, the great Ivy League tradition of the East was continued with the founding of the College of New Jersey, later renamed Princeton. Nearby can be found the home of Richard Stockton, signer of the Declaration of Independence. This home, considered the most historic in the state, was the site of the victory celebration after the signing of the Treaty of Paris, ending the American Revolution. Throughout the Garden State, one can find hundreds of carefully cared for reminders of our nation's heritage, such as this beautifully restored home owned by Mr. and Mrs. Marvin Keeter of Englishtown. And once a year, the NHRA visits this area with its own brand of history-making performance. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave McClelland, and over 800 race cars have jammed into Raceway Park, competing for nearly $800,000 in prize money in this year's edition of the Summer Nationals. The performance, in a word, has been incredible. How much so? Let's find out from my working partner, Steve Evans. Steve?
David, never in the history of NHRA Championship drag racing have the national records in all three professional categories been eclipsed at the same race until here at the Summer Nationals. Despite threatening weather on and off all weekend, even during qualifying, the onslaught began with Bob Glidden. You'll recall that Glidden survived a terrible crash in Atlanta just 2 months ago. A faulty parachute caused the car to turn left at over 180 miles per hour. It impacted the guardrail and rolled 6 1/2 times. Glidden came here with a brand new Ford Thunderbird Pro Stocker, obviously recovered mentally and mechanically, and promptly broke his own national record at 7.44 seconds. He then went out and did exactly that same elapsed time again, backing up within the required 1%. I talked to him about that feat. Were you saying to yourself, oh boy, this is it?
I knew that it was quicker than the record because we had equaled or actually ran 3 1,000s quicker than the record the run before.
Do you feel it in the seat of your pants when you're on a good one like that?
Absolutely, and that was a good one.
Pro Stock was only the beginning. Next, it was Mark Oswald in the spotlight in the Candies and Used AA Fuel Funny Car. Mark bettered Kenny Bernstein's existing national record at 5.56 seconds, but Bernstein's name will remain in the book until Oswald can perform the required 1% backup. I talked to him. He seemed confident he could do that. Anything you did different to achieve that elapsed time?
No, not really. You know, the car's been running strong. We've been having a little trouble getting it down the racetrack, so we thought we went at it kind of easy, actually, but we sat on the starting line a little longer than we expected to, and it had pretty much heat in it, and it ran awful good.
That could have helped you.
Yeah, it seems like it did.
The big question, can you back it up, the 1%?
Oh, I think so.
So much for Pro Stock and Funny Car. What about the top fuel dragsters? Well, Big Daddy Don Garlits accomplished his longtime goal of setting the national speed record at over 270 miles an hour. It ended up at 271 miles an hour, backed up in the books. In the process, he recorded the quickest elapsed time in the history of drag racing at 5.34 seconds. How badly did Big Daddy want to back that up? Watch this.
With the touch of a true master of his craft, Garlits regained control and drove the car through the cloud of tire smoke back toward the starting line. The streamlined dragster came through the crash in remarkably good condition, considering the potential for damage. Garlits calmly went about the task of shutting down the engine, unbuckled his safety belts, and climbed from the cockpit, giving the cheering fans a victory salute. The NHRA safety safari was right on the spot, but unneeded. The 54-year-old Garlits was uninjured. In slow motion replay, the accident is even more incredible. Rarely do you see a wheel stand carried to its ultimate conclusion, that of turning over backwards, but it happened to Garlits. As the car went faster, the front end climbed even higher. From another angle, you can see Garlits' problems started the moment he began his run. The small front wheels left the ground almost instantly, touching down only once or twice as the car accelerated rapidly. The aerodynamic nose piece cupped the wind, raising the car till it eventually reached perpendicular. Then over on the rear wing, it rotated 180 degrees in a ballet-like pirouette and slammed back to the pavement. The engine still delivering power, the rear slicks trying to move the car forward, thereby halting the backward slide. Garlits finally hit the brakes, and the car stopped, concluding the final chapter of one of the most bizarre incidents we have ever seen.
Big Daddy, you okay?
I'm just fine. My feelings is hurt is all.
And the world's quickest and fastest dragster took a bad hit, too.
Yeah, it turned over backwards.
You've had some harrowing experiences, but that was an unusual one.
It was very unusual. It, you know, it just, I knew it was gone. It got so high, and then it wouldn't come back. You know, I backed out of it early, but it didn't make any difference. It was accelerating too hard, and even though the throttle was off and everything, it didn't make any difference. It caught wind underneath it.
Any chance of repairing this car?
No, his car can't race at this event. I'm not that crazy.
Garlits taking it all in stride, just another first in his long career. The 1986 Summer Nationals is being brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Goodyear Eagles. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. And by Fram Bendix Autolite, which are all quality products of Allied Automotive. Dan Pastorini is ready for round 2 action in Top Fuel. We'll be right back to the Budweiser Summer Nationals.